my voice clearly? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
teacher.
Okay, can you hear my voice? Is the internet connection okay?
Yes.
Okay, so can we start?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome again everyone. So today we are going to finish up our chapter 6 with the last subtopic, confirmatory test. So in this subtopic, you will be able to um, describe confirmatory tests to identify cation and anions. Okay, so it is not only you will be able to identify the cation and anion, you will also need to know how to describe the confirmatory test. Describe the confirmatory test. Excuse me, can you really hear my voice?
No.
No? No.
Yes.
No or yes?
Yes.
Yes. Others, how about others?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Alright then. So I will proceed. Okay. So I'll proceed. If anything happen or if you don't really hear my voice, okay, or if anything happen, okay, just let me know. Okay. So we are still in qualitative analysis where it is a technique to identify the cation and anion present in the salt. Okay, we already settled step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and today we are going to see the confirmatory test for cations and anions. Okay, this confirmatory test is actually kita nak confirmkan sahaja the uh, our cation or anions yang kita dah test in step number 3 and step number 4. Okay, let's see satu example. Let's see one example. Let's see the example that we have discussed for test for cation before. Let's see. Okay, this is where we stop last class. Okay. Last class for the test for cation. Okay. After this step, we should be able to identify what is our anion in the salt and what is our cation. But there will be times where we cannot identify whether it is aluminium ions or lead ions that are present in our salts, because the observation for these two ions is the same. Okay, they will have white precipitate forms when we add sodium hydroxide, and both of the white precipitate will dissolve in excess sodium hydroxide, and they also have the same observation when we add ammonia. When we add ammonia, both of them will have white precipitate form, and both white precipitate does not dissolve in excess amount of ammonia. So for this case, we need to do an extra test to confirm our cation, whether our salts have aluminium ions or our salt have lead ions. So that is what confirmatory test is used for. Okay. Okay. So in confirmatory test for cations, okay, you should be able to describe confirmatory test for lead ions, iron 2 ion, iron 3 ions, and ammonium ions. Okay, but this sebenarnya these 3 ions kita dah boleh identify dah earlier kan. Kalau F2 ions, iron 2 ion kita dah tahu dia ada color green. Kalau iron 3 ion kita dah tahu dia ada color brown. Tapi kita nak confirmkan sahaja, so we need to do the test as well. Kalau kita dah buat test for lead ions, kita akan buat test tu untuk salt solution tadi, yang mana tadi kita tak sure dia ada lead ion ke aluminium ion kan. So we do this test to confirm dalam tu ada lead ion ataupun dalam tu tak ada lead ion. Okay, sama juga dengan ammonium ion. Ammonium ion pun ada special test untuk test dia, confirmkan dalam tu ada ammonium ion. So in this experiment awak kena tahu macam mana nak test for these 4 cation sahaja. 4 ni sahaja, okay, confirmatory test. So macam biasa bila cakap tentang describing test, you should be able to know what is the reagent used for the test, what is the observations, and what is the conclusion. Okay, for the observation sama juga. Okay, untuk confirmatory test 4 ni sahaja. So how are we going to test for cations? So this is basically how to confirm the presence of ammonium ion. You will add a few drops of Nestle reagent. So your reagent is Nestle reagent. What is your observation? So this is the reagent. The observation. Moment kejap. Okay. So when you want to test for confirmation of ammonium ion, you will add a few drops of Nestle reagent, and your observation is there will be brown precipitate. So bila ada brown precipitate form, okay, then your conclusion is you can confirm that there are presence of ammonium ion. Okay, next one, to confirm the formation the presence of iron 2. Ingat iron 2 selalunya solution dia dah warna green. So tak apalah awak nak buat confirmatory test. So when you want to do confirmatory test for iron 2, you will add a few drops of potassium hexacyanophrate 3. Okay, potassium hexacyanophrate 3 solution, and you will get a dark blue precipitate. Observation is you will get dark blue precipitate. Okay. Untuk test for presence of iron 3, you will add a few drops of potassium hexacyanophrate. Potassium hexacyanophrate 3 as well. Potassium hexacyanophrate 3. Okay, the differences is at the molecular formula. K3FeCN3, kat sini K4FeCN6. Kat sini je beza dia. Hexacyanophrate. And then what is your observation? You will also get dark blue precipitate. Okay. Nanti kita tengok lagi kat sini. Next one is to confirm the presence of lead 2 ions. To confirm the presence of lead 2 ions, you will add potassium iodide. Okay, you will add potassium iodide, 1 cm cube of potassium iodide inside your salt solution, and then you will get yellow precipitate. And then awak akan heatkan yellow precipitate tu, and yellow precipitate tu will dissolve in hot temperature. Tapi bila kita coolkan balik, the yellow precipitate will reappear, will precipitate kembali. You will get yellow precipitate balik. Ingat tak apa nama salt ni? What is this salt? What is this yellow precipitate salt? Apa nama salt kita ni? Dia adalah insoluble salt sebab dia precipitate, tapi bila kita panaskan dia akan dissolve. Bila kita sejukkan balik, dia akan jadi precipitate balik. What is this salt? This yellow precipitate ni, nama apa salt dia? Ingat lagi tak?
Lead to iodide.
Yes, good. This is lead to iodide. Okay? Lead to iodide. Macam mana juga awak tahu kalau awak tak ingat? Sebab kita tambahkan iodide ion ke dalam lead nitrate. So lead ni akan kawan dengan iodide ion, so dia akan dapat lead to iodide. Okay? Alright, next. So you have to write down the observations. Okay, discussion. Write down an ionic equation for the reaction between potassium iodide and lead nitrate solution. Okay, potassium iodide and lead nitrate tadi, dia nak ionic equation. So, boleh buat macam biasa yang kita buat. Awak akan potongkan the ions and then you will get this one. Okay. Other than Nestle reagent, what are other reagents that can be used to confirm the presence of ammonium ion? Briefly explain how the chemical test is carried out. Okay, you can also use sodium hydroxide untuk confirm the presence of ammonium. Sebab bila kita tambahkan sodium hydroxide ke dalam amonia, apa akan jadi? Dan kita heatkan mixture tersebut, kemudian kita akan test the gas that is produced. So macam ni kita test gas produced, kita put the moist red litmus paper at the mouth of the test tube. So the moist red litmus paper akan turns blue. Okay. Predict the observation obtained if potassium chloride solution is used instead of potassium iodide solution. Okay. Kiranya dia nak test tadi dia guna lead nitrate. Instead of dia tambah potassium iodide, dia tambah dengan potassium chloride. So apa produk yang kita akan dapat? Apa produk yang kita akan dapat?
Lead to chloride.
Okay, lead to chloride and
Potassium nitrate.
good, potassium nitrate. Okay, ni tak balance. Balancekan. Dua nitrate 2, K2, Cl2. Now Cl is nitrate 2, potassium 2. Okay, good. Okay. So, awak akan dapat lead chloride and potassium nitrate. So, apa observation yang awak dapat bila awak tambahkan potassium chloride ke dalam lead nitrate? Ingat balik insoluble salt for chloride apa?
Double decomposition.
Double decomposition. Saya tak tanya dia punya nama. Saya tanya apa observation yang awak boleh dapat. What is the observation that you will get?
White precipitate remain.
White precipitate remain.
White precipitate is formed.
Yes, good. White precipitate is formed. Kenapa white precipitate? Sebab lead chloride is formed. Lead chloride is insoluble. Yang ini soluble. Betul lah yang Nathaniel tanya tu apa nama reaction ni. Kalau kita tanya apa nama reaction, reaction ni adalah double decomposition reaction, betul. Cumanya asking what is the question ask what is the observation yang kita akan dapat. So kalau kita tambah dengan lead iodide, kita akan dapat yellow precipitate. Sebab yang terhasil adalah lead iodide. But when we add potassium chloride, kita akan dapat lead chloride. So lead chloride warna dia white. So itu adalah jawapan. A white precipitate is formed. Okay? This one akan form sebab lead chloride adalah insoluble. So awak tak dapat yellow precipitate. Okay, kalau kita tambah yang ni, kita akan dapat yellow precipitate sebab yang terhasil adalah lead iodide. Tapi kalau kita tambah yang ni, kita akan dapat white precipitate sebab yang terhasil adalah lead chloride. Good. Okay, this is the summary. The summary for confirmatory test. So untuk confirmatory test for ammonium ion, lead ion 2 ion and iron 3 ion, okay, awak tambah untuk confirmatory test for ammonium ion, awak tambah Nestle reagent, your observation will be brown precipitate. To test for iron 2 ion, awak akan tambah potassium hexacyanopyrate 3 and awak akan dapat dark blue precipitate. To test for iron 3 ions, awak boleh tambah potassium hexacyanopyrate 3, awak dapat dark blue precipitate juga, or awak boleh tambah potassium sekejap saya tengok nama dia. Ini rasanya tak ada dekat dalam ni. Potassium thiocyanate. Okay? This is potassium thiocyanate. So if you add potassium thiocyanate, awak akan dapat blood red solution. Itu adalah confirmatory test for iron 3. Okay, this is continuation daripada kita punya kelas hari tu. Remember, ada satu salt yang kita tengok, kita test guna sodium hydroxide dengan ammonia. Kemudian kita dapat to conclusion that this salt might contain aluminium ion or lead ion. Sebab dia punya sama kan. So we have to do further test to identify apa dalam tu. Ada aluminium ion ke ada lead ion. So we do a test to confirm ada tak lead ion. So how do we confirm the presence of lead ions? We add few drops of potassium iodide solution and then yellow precipitate will form. And when we heat the yellow precipitate dissolve in water. And when we cool the precipitate, the yellow precipitate will form again. So kita boleh kata that our salt solution contain lead 2 ions. But when we add potassium iodide solution, there are no precipitate forms, then we can say that our salt solution contains aluminium ions. Ini je cara untuk kita differentiate between aluminium ion and lead 2 ions. Habis. Okay, we are done with our topic. We are done with our topic. Okay, this is the summary for this subtopic, qualitative analysis. So when we have our salt, okay, bila kita ada satu salt, kita akan observe dulu the colour of the salt. Ada warna tak salt tu? And then you already have to remember the salt yang ada warna. Ada warna green, ada warna brown, and ada yang warna white. Okay, kemudian bila kita dah tengok warna, kita akan cuba heatkan dia. And bila kita heatkan dia, if there are gases that are released, we test for gases. So daripada sini kita sepatutnya tahu sama ada kita dah ada carbon dioxide gas ataupun nitrogen dioxide gas and oxygen gas. So kalau carbon dioxide gas, dia adalah carbonate ion. Kalau ada nitrogen gas dengan nitrogen dioxide gas dengan oxygen, dia ada nitrate ions. Kalau observe the color, kita ada color green, kita ada color brown. Color of the salt, kita ada color green, kita ada color brown dengan kita ada color blue. Yang lain-lain semua white. Kalau green, iron 2 sulfate, copper 2 chloride, carbonate, copper 2 chloride. Ini warna green. Kalau warna brown, iron 3 chloride. Kalau warna blue, copper sulfate ataupun copper nitrate. Okay. Yang lain-lain semua white. Okay. Kalau awak heat, ada carbon dioxide, dalam tu ada carbonate ion. Kalau awak heat, dah ada keluar nitrogen dioxide dengan oksigen, dalam tu ada nitrate ion. Kemudian awak buat further test, awak add distilled water. Tengok dia soluble ke insoluble. Kalau soluble, all anak salt. Okay, all nitrate salts. Okay, dengan chloride salt dan sulfate salt except chloride salt except for PaH, sulfate salt except for PCB. Kalau dia insoluble, so dia adalah carbonate salt ataupun perchloride dan PCB sulfate. Okay, kena ingat ni semua. Okay, so kalau dia soluble, awak akan dapat ions dalam aqueous solution dan awak akan test for cation. Test for cation, kita guna sodium hydroxide or ammonia. Kalau awak, and then awak test for anion, ni ada 4 test tu. Sama ada kita tambahkan acid, kita tambahkan acid plus silver nitrate, ataupun awak tambah acid and barium chloride, ataupun awak tambah acid sulfuric acid, iron 2 sulfate and concentrated sulfuric acid. Baru awak tahu ini untuk test nitrate ion, ini untuk test sulfate ion, ini untuk test chloride ion, ini untuk test carbonate ion. Ini semua yang kita dah belajar. You have to know what is the observation and what is the meaning of the observation. Okay. Kemudian kalau awak test dengan solubility, awak dapat insoluble salt, maksudnya awak dapat salt ni. Okay. Kalau awak nak test, ingat kalau kita nak test untuk cation dengan anion, kita mesti guna solution. So what should you do? You will add dilute nitric acid ke dalam awak punya salts, insoluble salts tadi untuk jadikan dia dalam solution. Baru awak boleh test for cation, baru awak boleh test for anions. And then you draw the conclusion. Okay, up until this point, do you have any questions? Boleh faham?
Boleh.
Boleh. Kita try buat satu soalan, okay? Kita try buat satu soalan. Awak ada banyak benda yang perlu dihafal sebab tu that is why dia nampak sangat dia tak susah, awak kena banyak hafal sahaja and then awak kena analyse. Okay, let's see this question. Alright, so figure 1 shows the flow chart for a series of reaction that occurs on solid X salt. Okay, solid X salt. Okay, di mana kita ada salt X. Salt X tu, bila kita heatkan dia, dia akan dapat black solid, brown gas Q dengan colorless gas R. So daripada sini, what can you guess? What is this brown gas? Dah ingat belum apa brown gas? Apa nama brown gas kita?
Saya just nak awak letak
Apa nama brown gas kita? Siapa ingat?
Nitrogen dioxide.
Good. This is nitrogen dioxide. So, kalau nitrogen dioxide, pasangan dia apa sebenarnya? Gas satu lagi colourless ni. Pasangan dia
Oxygen.
apa? Yes, good. Oxygen. Oxygen. So, daripada sini, conclusion kita, our salts now contain apa? Contain what ions?
Nitrate ion.
Good. Contain nitrate ions. Daripada sini saja, daripada salt, daripada sini, daripada gas saja kita dah dapat conclusion yang kita punya salt ada nitrate ions. Now, black solid. Apakah yang bila kita heatkan salt X, maksudnya dia punya oxide, this X oxide ni warna black. Okay, kalau daripada kita punya ingatan, apakah oxide yang berwarna black? Daripada table yang saya suruh awak hafal itu, apa oxide yang warna black?
Copper 2 oxide.
Good. Copper 2 oxide. Warna black. So, daripada sini, awak dah tahu belum apa cation kita?
Copper 2 ion.
Copper 2 plus.
Good. So, our cation adalah copper 2 plus. Our anion adalah nitrate ion. So, apakah our salt? What is our salt?
Copper 2 nitrate.
Good. Copper nitrate. Copper 2 nitrate. So, awak dah dapat dah identify what is our salt. So, awak berjayalah achieve our learning objective to identify the cations and anions in the salt. Okay, but still kita masih boleh buat further test. Bila kita dissolvekan salt X in water, kita akan dapat blue solution. So, blue solution kita tahu dah mesti ada copper 2 ion juga. Confirm ada copper. Kemudian add a little amount sodium hydroxide. Dia buat test for cation. Ada blue precipitate. Confirm lagi Cu2+. Kita add excess sodium hydroxide. Blue precipitate insoluble. Confirm copper 2+. Kita tambah pula dengan ammonia. Dapat blue precipitate. Sama juga. Confirm yang tu Cu2+. Letak in excess. Blue precipitate dissolve. Jadi dark blue solution. Confirm Cu2+. Okay, so confirm lah awak punya salt X adalah copper 2 nitrate. Senang Boleh?
Boleh.
Boleh So, in order for you untuk identify the cation and anion, I tell you again, it is very important for you first to remember the salts that have color. Second, to remember the soluble salt and insoluble salt. Third, to remember metal oxide that have color when hot and color when cold. Fourth, remember the observation when you do the observation and reagents when you test for anions. Fifth, remember the observation that you will get when you test for cations. Last sekali, remember the confirmatory test when you have to remember the reagent and the observation to confirm sama ada your salt contain lead or aluminium or ammonium or iron 2 and iron 3. Okay? So any questions? You have any questions? Ada soalan kat sini nak tanya? No. So my advice kepada awak, selain daripada awak hafal, you should have your own notes. Okay? Table-table tu awak buatlah secantik-cantik yang mungkin ke. Awak compactkan your notes for this benda-benda yang awak kena hafal for salts. Okay? You will be using this sampai form 5. So, sebelum masuk sekolah ni, buat elok-elok siap-siap nota untuk awak untuk salts, benda-benda yang awak kena ingat untuk salts ni. It will help you tremendously in the future. Okay, so for close, untuk menutup kita punya chapter for this year, Bukan, untuk tutup chapter 6 kita ini, okay, you will need to do exercise in your module. This exercise, saya sangat-sangat galakkan awak buat exercise ni and try to do it by yourself and try to identify the cation and anion. Sebab daripada tu baru awak dapat tengok awak faham ke tak macam mana nak analyse. Okay, and then rujuklah awak punya nota-nota tu sambil menghafal. So you will have, your exercise is page 195 until 196 in your module book. Okay, and this is due next Tuesday. Saya bagi banyak masa untuk awak betul-betul prepare, untuk awak betul-betul buat, so that you will truly understand this subtopic. Okay. Do the exercise and upload your answer in Google Classroom before Tuesday midnight. Okay. If you have any questions while doing the exercise, you can always message me and ask questions. Okay. Cuma I cannot help you if you don't remember all the observations and the reagents. Okay. Itu sahaja dari saya. Any questions for the exercise? Ada soalan tentang exercise? Ada?
Is it the one on GC, teacher?
Yes, I've already put it in the GC under exercise 16. Okay, kalau nak tengok balik instruction, there are instructions there as well. The soft copy pun saya letak dalam tu juga. But if you have your module with you, it is page 195 until 197. Okay. Okay, so we are basically done with chapter 6. And for this year, we will only have another chapter, iaitu chapter 8. Chapter 8, Industrial Chemistry. So for chapter 8, okay, it will be your project-based learning, where you will have to form groups. I don't want so many of you, macam a pair. Saya nak awak buat pair, and you will need to do slides and presentations. So for next class, on Wednesday next week, I will brief you and I will give you pair. Saya akan bagikan pair awak and I will give you the topics. Dalam 1 jam tu, I will give you times to prepare for your slide. On Friday next week, you will start presenting. Okay, sampailah habis topik 8. And then topik 7, kita akan masuk next year. Okay, jelas tak saya punya explanation?
Yeah.
Jelas.
Okay.
Jelas.
So we are done. You may write your name in the Google chat box and you may leave this Google Meet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
Thank you, teacher.
Yes.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Welcome. Bye.